Hello YouTube and welcome to another part 0 for our one more marathon. This is for Germany. So what we do in these is talk about sort of the basic skill set and some strategies that you might be able to pursue within your own games and things that we might get up to in ours as well. If you want to get involved in these live, please stop by twitch.tv/thegamemechanic or follow me on Twitter at TGMTweets. So Germany might surprise a lot of you that I actually very much like Germany. I think Germany is an incredibly powerful civ. They were one of my first, they date all the way back to vanilla, and they were kind of one of my first loves in terms of Civ 6, because back in vanilla, it really was the heuristic that production is king. And production is still king in a lot of ways. A lot of you have heard me talk about industrial zones and my dislike for them in general, or at least in most games. However, when you have a unique industrial zone, it changes the math and it changes my opinion a lot. Germany also has a couple of other abilities that pair well into that. So let's get into it. Let's start with Holy Roman Emperor, additional military policy slot. That's already awesome. Sometimes I complain about governments that have too many military policy slots, or just military policy slots in general, because, you know, in a culture game, you're not going to get a lot out of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's logistics and conscription and maybe a couple other things. But having a free policy slot is incredibly powerful. It helps a lot early game. It allows you to run an extra like barb killing policy or scout XP or something. So the fact that it's there from the get-go is huge, and then it just adds that flexibility onto any other government you would choose to go in. It's not as powerful as like the Greeks, who have a wildcard policy slot, but the military policy slot is still very, very good, and allows you excellent flexibility and versatility in both the early and late game. Note as well that the is it Craftsman, the policy card that gives you industrial adjacency bonus wasn't always a military policy slot. It is now, and so it slots right in there is the second you unlock it, and you don't remove it for the rest of the game. So again, just flexibility, just extra little oomph, and pairs well with the rest of his stuff. So that's really good already. 7 extra combat strength when attacking city-states. Now, this is one of those abilities that is stupidly good on lower difficulties. However, when you get to the point where the AI has automatic walls, this isn't quite as good, because normally, like if you're playing on Prince difficulty or King difficulty, you could honestly go something like Scout Warrior and take over a city-state. Just take over your neighboring city-state. You can actually do that. 7 combat strength is a ton, and if you're on a lower difficulty, it's just free. It's just free. Now, you have to want to take the city-state or not want their bonuses, but it can translate so easily into a free city early on that it's actually really, really good. Now on Deity, it's a little, you can do stuff on Deity, but you're going to need a couple archers to probably take down the walls, because just facing your warriors into walls isn't really going to work even with 7 combat strength. You might be able to do it. I'm not sure. We may try to get that get that going in our game. But a really, really insanely powerful difficulty on lower difficulties, and still pretty solid on higher level difficulties. Free Imperial Cities. Each city, thank you, shop. Each city can build 1 more district than usual, exceeding the normal limit based on population. So if you're not familiar with how this mechanic works, basically the number of districts a given city can get is based on population. So if you have 1 to 3 population, you can get 1 district, and once you hit 4, you can get your 2nd district. One of the issues I have with industrial zones in general is that they take up a very, very valuable district slot. A lot of your cities can get to 7 to 10 population. They should have a commercial hub or harbor. They should have probably some sort of campus, and then a 3rd district, whether that's a theater square or holy site or industrial zone, depending, right? But the fact that you can get an extra one means that you can lock in more districts. And what that means is you need to place it, switch off of it, or whatever, and you fix the production cost of that extra district. This really helps the efficiency model of not only the Hansa and industrial zones in general, but what you can do based on where you're at in the tech tree. Because hey, okay, here's where my campus goes. Let's lock that in, but let's build our Hansa first, and then we get that production bonus, and we can build that campus even more efficiently. It's actually surprisingly powerful. It's another drawback with holy sites, because if you go holy site first, you're like, okay, I still need to get a government plaza somewhere. I want an entertainment complex for Coliseum, and oh yeah, by the way, I need campuses and commercial hubs and theater squares. So this is actually a pretty good ability as long as you're taking advantage of it. And I think in order to best take advantage of it, you really need to lock in those districts and be thoughtful about when and where you're getting them, and don't be afraid to spend some gold to buy the spot where that district needs to go and lock it in, because that gold will translate into production. It's a decent value. The U-boat is fine. It's maybe the most disappointing part about their kit, but that's not necessarily the U-boat's fault. It's a fine unit. It is a modern era naval unit that replaces the submarine. It's cheaper to produce, has extra sight and 10 combat strength when fighting on ocean tiles, able to reveal other stealth units. It's very, very late in the game, which means that you're not able to snag some kind of cheesy early like era score sometimes, which is really nice with unique units. So it's very, very late at a point where that part of it's probably not relevant, and it's only ever going to be relevant in multiplayer, right? Like the AI even at Deity level isn't amazing at like, hey, I have a giant navy and I'm gonna come after you with my destroyers and stuff, and that's kind of where the U-boat would shine in defense of that or on the offense of that, right? And so that situation just doesn't happen that often on Deity, and so this unit isn't all that exciting. I'd rather it be a Panzer. I'd rather it be something, even if it is late in the game, something perhaps a little bit more reliably good. The other thing is, like, if you really want to take advantage of something like a submarine, you probably want to go some sort of naval map. So that's like archipelago or small continents or something. And then that doesn't really work well with like, hey, we want Hanzas and commercial hubs and all that stuff. So it's kind of a weird one. It's fine. You can use it. Go out of your way to use it if you want to. But I'm not really that jazzed over it. But, and again, this may shock some of you, I love the Hansa. The Hansa is an amazing district. So this replaces your industrial zone. And because it's a unique district, it's half cost. So already the efficiency model is like way different than a typical industrial zone, right? Way different than a typical industrial zone. Then we get 2 extra production for each adjacent aqueduct, commercial hub, canal, and dam. So aqueduct, canal, and dam often or typically provide the +2, but we also get +2 for commercial hubs. So basically, if you can be near rivers and you can get some districts that go on rivers, your Hansa next to it is going to be good. Oh, and by the way, 1 extra production for bonus resources and every 2 adjacent district tiles. So district triangles do work with this. So Hansa is an incredibly powerful district. It is very, very reasonable to expect like +8 Hansas, +6 minimum probably in most of your cities. And then keep in mind you're going to run craftsmen to double that and get somewhere between 12 and 20 extra production in the city. It makes the Hansa the district that you want to beeline, because you really do want to get this down as fast as possible so that you can start reaping the rewards of just that adjacency bonus. There's an interesting conversation to be had here around like workshops, because you can just get the Hansa and not really worry about the workshops, which I don't love the efficiency proposition on the workshop. Generally speaking, they take like 65 turns or something like that to pay for themselves in terms of just pure production. So I usually don't love that. Go out of your way for it if you want, because you're going to stack in industrial zones and stuff like that. But I think there's an interesting argument to skip those in a lot of cities. So there you go. All of that adds up to Germany being a flexible civ, somebody that you can do whatever you want with. Obviously, like Space Race stands out because that's the win con that you probably want a ton of production for. You can do culture, you can build wonders with this, you can do whatever you want, right? Like there's a lot of flexibility here, and frankly just a fun civ to play, because there's unique district planning and city planning, which I always like, and it's worth it, right? Like the payoffs are worth it. So very, very fun civ. I've always been a big fan of Germany, and I cannot wait to play them. Please don't forget to stop by twitch.tv/thegamemechanic and come join us live in person on the internet. And thanks for watching.